That is Two Tales of Woe. Carl should be on the line with me right now. Can you hear me, Carl?
How's it going, Dylan? You all good, man?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, grand.
I want
Grand.
to,
I never thought I'd be played after Bagatelle, which was very interesting.
I suppose. Well, that's what we kind of do here. We try to have very kind of diverse range, if you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying. Want to thank you very much for coming on to speak to us. Just a few
No
questions.
problem.
Well, I suppose kind of a good place to start would be for the uninitiated. I suppose, can you give the students in Limerick a bit of an introduction as to what you guys are all about?
Sure. Well, we've been gone a long time, and we play. It's like an equal mix of sludge metal and doom metal. So it's not quite heavy as the sludge, and not quite heavy as the doom, and the balance you get is what we are. And we've been playing together. Excuse me. We've been playing for about 15 years or so, or 14 years. And it's, it is what it is. We just play. We like playing what we play, and we've played in Limerick a few times. We've played at the Siege of Limerick, and we've also played with Corrosion Conformity there last year as well. So Limerick's cool.
Yeah, and I think personally, from my own kind of research and kind of listening to your stuff, you have very kind of interest in history, dating back, as you said, 15 years or so. Does it feel like a very long time? And I suppose, has much changed over the years?
Yeah, it feels like a long time for me because I'm the only constant member that's been in the band all the time. We've had so many lineup changes over the years for different reasons, good and bad, and that's no problem. But I've been the only one that's been the constant, So,
Yeah.
yeah, it feels like a long time for me.
And I suppose, kind of in that regard, how did you kind of form the group you have now?
Yeah, well, back in the day, I was in another band called Chosen, and myself and one of the guitarists who was one of the first members of Two Tales of Woe was in Chosen as well, and I had wanted to get this side project going for a while, which would end up to be Two Tales of Woe, with a friend of mine who's a fantastic guitarist called John Nesbitt, fantastic guitarist. So myself and himself were trying to get that going, and we got the other guy in to help us out. And then we picked up the other guys along the way. As it turned out, we had great chemistry when we made the first album. And then people went their separate ways or whatever, and I got more players in. And you fast forward to now, and I have 3 of the original members back in the band. So it's essentially the original lineup with my guitarist, Dan, who has been with me a long time as well. So it's fantastic.
So I suppose it's kind of good to kind of get back to the origins, I suppose, for lack of better words.
Absolutely.
I suppose kind of in that regard, you probably know each other a very long time. So would you have any kind of interesting stories or kind of funny anecdotes or anything like that you could share?
Well, like that. A lot of those guys, we haven't played together in a few years, but we did play in France a good while ago, and that was a very interesting. We played a couple of gigs with a French band who didn't bother to tell us that we were going into an outlaw motorcycle gang, motorcycle gang clubhouse. So it was actually their club, and they were one of the criminal gangs. I won't say who it is.
Okay.
But yeah, that was quite hairy until we just kind of said, right, well, we're who we are, and we played our asses off, and we literally had to strike a deal to not take. They were offering us some nasty substances, we'll say, but in order to not take them, we had to offer to drink all their beer. So we drank all their beer.
All right. Well, it sounds like a very kind of interesting form of payment, anyway.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. We got to play France. We got some fans out of it, and it was a trip. It was a little trip, a nice holiday, a few days.
It was an experience, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I suppose, but bringing it back kind of more kind of day to day, like what are kind of the challenges in being in a group like this?
Okay, well, in this particular, I can't speak for other bands, but this particular band, we're spread out all over the country. Myself and the bass player Chris are located in Dublin. The guitarists are up north, and the drummer is in Drogheda. So it's quite awkward getting together for an old jam or a writing session, but we do it when we can. So
And do you think that your music gets very kind of strong response? Do you think that there's like a big following for that kind of brand of sludge in Dublin, and kind of how does that compare to different places around the country?
Yeah. If I think Dublin is primarily a thrash city. It's mainly thrash, but like I mean, we have our own sludgers here as well. Like, there's a band called Grey Stag that are in Dublin. They're fantastic. But then you've got other bands from all around the place: Tenth One Slug, Galway, Soothsayer, Cork, Zora in Tipperary. So like it's sludge is kind of spread all over the place, you know. But we seem to go down really well in Dublin and Belfast, actually, up north. The Northerners love us.
All right, that's interesting. I suppose kind of how do you prepare for a gig? Like, is it like do you kind of can always consider it a challenge, or do you always get, or like do you kind of get used to it, or suppose what would be your kind of mindset going into a performance?
I just every gig I play, whether it's with Crowbar or whether it's with a local band, it doesn't matter. They're all the same to me. To me, at this stage, I just want to do the best I can for whoever's paid in to see whoever. They're going to be there, so they're going to watch us play. So as gig day, I just kind of chill out and just kind of try and get focused on the task at hand.
Do you have like a favorite gig that you've done, or anything like that?
Well, we've played some. In fairness, like we're still a local band, but we've played some really. We've been lucky to play some really good gigs over the years. We played Bloodstock Open Air Festival, which is in England, which is a couple of years ago, which was a very, very cool experience, and we made a good lot of fans from that. And we've also played with Crowbar, a couple of shows with Crowbar, which was a big highlight for me and the band as well, because like they would be one of my favorite bands, and to be able to play alongside them was fantastic. And we played with Corrosive Conformity as well, which was another awesome highlight as well. You know.
I suppose like it's good to have all these kind of different gigs around the country, but do you have any plans to come back to Limerick anytime soon?
Not offhand, because we're just kind of easing up a little bit on the gig, and we're kind of concentrating more on recording at the moment, which is what we kind of it's easier, believe it or not, it's easier for us to record than to play multiple gigs or whatever. So we're just enjoying the recording process at the moment. I don't know if Bad Reputation want us back down in Limerick, we'd be quite happy to come down. But for the moment, we've no concrete plans as it is.
And that reminds me of something I wanted to speak to you about. Can you give us any kind of update as to how the new album is coming along, and I suppose what can you kind of share on that particular project?
Sure, yeah. Well, what we're doing is it's an EP at the moment, and that's going to be followed then hopefully by the end of the year with an album. So this EP, it's 5 tracks long. I don't want to give too much away right now because we're still finishing up little bits on it, but it's hitting nearly 29 minutes long. So it's a pretty nice length EP, and we hope to release it in the summertime.
Do you have any kind of suppose kind of highlights from the experience of recording it?
Yeah, this EP has 4 very different sounding tracks. They all sound very different to each other. I think fans of 2000 will be pleasantly surprised that we've kind of changed a little bit. I suppose we've progressed in a way. So it'll be interesting to see how people take this EP.
And I suppose kind of moving forward from that, what would be kind of your goals kind of after bringing out the EP and the album? I suppose thinking a bit more long term.
Yeah, well, as it stands, we're quite happy doing what we're doing. We all have, other bands. We all have lives and kids and whatnot. So, I mean, if people like what we're doing and they still want us to play places, we'll play. It's a simple case of, as I say, if the band kind of fits in around everyone's life now. And, like, we're not as young as we used to be, so we can't be playing 10 gigs all over the place here and there. So you know, if people want us to play gigs, we'll play. But for the moment, we're kind of just focusing on getting as much product out there as we can, because we've hit a rich vein of form at the minute. We're writing some of our strongest stuff we've ever written. So where we want to get that all down, if you know what I mean, we'll get it on tape, so to speak.
And I suppose, kind of in that respect, how do you guys go about writing a song, and what is your creative process? Do you think like an idea is already in your head when you start, or is it kind of experimentation?
Okay. Well, I'm the lyricist of the band, so all of my stuff would start off. I would have a book full of, you say, poems. They essentially start off as poetry, and then the lads will come in with riffs, and now Ross, who was our guitarist, comes in with fully formed songs, which is amazing. And then we work around that, and I see what lyrics will fit that particular song, and then we go in and we work on it then in the studio then.
I suppose for any kind of aspiring songwriters, is there any kind of advice that you could give?
Well, I mean, songwriting for me is a different thing. That helps me get through my songwriting's quite dark, so it helps me get through the dark times in my life, so it comes out on the pages for me. Other people can write happy songs, other people can write love songs, but if you're a songwriter, just write what feels right to you. Write what comes from the heart, and let it be honest and genuine. That's the way I feel. I'm always honest and genuine in my stuff. So that's the thing.
I suppose, thank you very much. I just want to be a bit conscious of time constraints, unfortunately. But I suppose, kind of, what would you say to anyone that wants to enter the industry in general?
Be professional. Always be aware of what you're doing. Respect people, and respect bands that you play with. Respect musicians. Respect studios. Respect venues. Because you never know, if you do get to the top, you might have to see these people on the way back down.
Yeah. I suppose. Thank you very much for coming on. I just want to be conscious of time constraints. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off or anything like that. But I suppose to finish up, if the students in Limerick want to find you, where can they look to kind of get more?
Yeah, we are available on Facebook, the usual. You just type in Tales of Woe. Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Bandcamp. All our stuff is free for free download on Bandcamp at the moment as well. We're also on Spotify as well. If you just type in Tales of Woe on all your social networking platforms, you'll see us there.
Right, well, that was Carl from Tales of Woe. I want to thank you very much for coming on to speak to us.
Thanks for the time, Dylan.
Right, thank you very much. Goodbye.
See you now.